Hello, my friends, and welcome to the broadcast. My name is Justice Knight, filling in kind of an emergency for the ailing Lisa Haven. Don't worry, she's okay, but with no voice, it's kind of hard to broadcast. And she had heard that I was working on just a blockbuster report, which now you are going to get treated to. I'm going to make sure my audience knows, because how we ever let this happen in our country is beyond imagination. It is beyond reprehensible. The attack we prayed would never happen has hit our shores, and it's a long video, but the information and details contained within are absolutely critical. So before we get there, of course, I hope if you haven't already, subscribe to either my website at justiceknight.com or my YouTube channel, Justice Knight, that you certainly will. And always make sure that bell is clicked so you're alerted to new videos. Lisa also wanted me to give a shout out to just an amazing company. This is preparewithlisa.com. My Patriot supply, 45% off. Absolutely amazing group of people, amazing products. We have to always be prepped for worst case scenario. But without further ado, we're going to go ahead and jump into the broadcast. I got to warn you right now, if I move too fast today, use the pause button and rewind, because I'm not going to stop, because I am irate, because I am just disgusted by the amount of people still remaining in America that don't understand exactly how far and deep in the clutches of socialism we are. It's not if we're going to become socialists. No, we're already there. And I'm going to prove to you. So when I get angry, instead of getting even more irate, I channel it into productive means. So what we're going to do is I'm going to take a comparison of two countries that should have nothing to compare to one another. But by the time we're done with this, from going from gun control to feces, yeah, no joke, you are going to see exactly the depth of the total socialist attack on our great republic. So hold on, because here we go. First article on your screen, published on Politico.com. This is Nancy Pelosi. This is not a day at the beach. Pelosi tells moderate Dems to stop voting with the GOP. Let's just put aside if you agree with it or not. If you're part of one party, you must vote 100% down party lines all the time. It's the only way things will work. That is a disgusting and despicable statement. The two parties don't exist anymore. So we got to get that sham out of the way, because there's people, agents operating on both sides of the aisle against our great America. That is just the long and short of it. But nonetheless, House Democrats are divided over how to respond to Republican procedural attacks. So Nancy says you vote one way and you vote one way only. I don't care if you disagree with it. Man, that sounds eerily familiar to North Korea's election system. Yes, there are elections in North Korea, and here's how they work. Let's all vote in agreement. Yeah, because there's really no vote, because once these families decide who's going to lead, that's who they're going to lead. And by the way, they require mandatory voting in North Korea. But we'll never see that in America, will we? Oh, because this isn't only a political attack we're going to be talking about. I'm going to illustrate to you how the media is pushing us full speed ahead into socialism. This is what they want. This is the government-controlled arm of controlling media and the alt-right deep state attack on every single one of us. Here's the case for mandatory voting in the U.S. Futury. This is what they publish. This is what they want, directly mirroring the North Korea system. But we're going to continue. I told you there's a lot to cover. The Real ID. How many times have we covered Real ID here? And how disgusting it is. This is the federalization of a local ID system. Something they will probably, oh, don't worry, it will never exist in one database. We'll never get all, it's all BS. They're going to have everything. They have everything on you already. But there we go. North Korea news. This is the standard identity document for a North Korean citizen issued when one reaches the age of majority. Unlike most countries, in North Korea, this age is not 18, but 17, because we got to get you ID'd a lot quicker in North Korea. But if you happen to live in the capital dwellers, you get another ID with even more information, because North Korea uses that ID, and if they were to pull it away from you, you become stateless. You have no mobility whatsoever within their borders. And that's what I have warned against the Real ID system. That will eventually be the card that will make you get a library book, will allow you to get medical, everything, because it was easy to study. All I had to do was study the North Korea system, and you'll quickly understand exactly where all these moves in the United States are heading. We're not even close to done. The Hill, Dems wrestle over how to vote on Green New Deal. The Green New Deal in its entirety. Because, oh my gosh, we got to save the planet. Global warming climate change, everything's destroying everything. Yeah, I put both terms in there. I don't want to hear it. I don't know the difference between both, because trust me, I do. And we can go solar minimum and solar maximum and greenhouse gases, and the cows better not fart. Oh my goodness, what would happen then? Well, this could never have anything to do with North Korea or Venezuela. Green New Deal would turn U.S. into Venezuela. Warren's chair of SLO County GOP, at least some people are waking up and realizing this is a complete repressive act. But North Korea should be the furthest away from caring about global warming. Well, actually, no. North Korea, an unlikely champion in the fight against climate change. Pyongyang is cooperating with Global Strategy on Climate Change. This is an older article, granted, but nonetheless shows how these very initial roots take place. Even in North Korea, when we think of North Korea, we think of a nation determined to be an outsider in the international community, whether it's testing nuclear weapons or threatening London hairdressers. The Democratic People's Republic of Korea is not usually associated with compliance, but there is compelling evidence that the North Korea government is motivated by domestic power games to cooperate globally on climate change, because it would give the government overriding control on the remaining portions of those poor citizens of North Korea. That is the sham of the Green Deal. The sham is that it will give government control of everything, down to your housing, which we're going to get there towards the end of this. Oh, I promise you there is so much more to come. Now this one, 2020 buzz phrase, progressive Democrats push Medicare for All platform, an amazing platform that's failed in every single country it's ever been a place. But let's listen first.
We'll deliver that right with Medicare for All.
I believe that we need Medicare for All.
Medicare for All will provide health care to every man, woman, and child as a right.
We all support Medicare for All.
We all support Medicare for All, the most amazing system ever created, never deemed to fail. Living Politics, ARC Laureate Project, Informal Life Politics. What does it say here? Emergency and evolution of informal healthcare institution in North Korea. Free healthcare, along with the free public education, was an important pillar of North Korea's socialism. Wow, hold on. Free healthcare and free public education, a pillar of North Korea's socialism. By the Social Insurance Law of 1947, North Korea introduced free healthcare for workers and their families. Well, let's move down a little bit further. While the state's inability to supply basic medicines and equipments, the free healthcare system virtually collapsed in its ability to provide service to the sick. Some witnesses say that the situation started deteriorating in the late 1980s. During the 1990s, the shortage of medicine and widespread death by starvation incapacitated healthcare workers. Sounds like an amazing system. Oh, can we please push it more in America? Why not? We're pushing outbreaks, small outbreaks of measles that you and I, chickenpox, measles, these were things that just happened in our childhood. We got sick for a couple days, we got over it, and we got past it once the symptoms were treated. But now suddenly this has become a pandemic of epic proportions. Why? Because would this help push a government vaccine program? Stunning video shows how the vaccine industry has turned the measles, an ordinary non-fatal infection like chickenpox, into a hyperventilated national emergency. What an amazing article published on National News. The funny part, David Knight's show just covered this incredibly, and he brought up some clips, and these just really rang and resonated back to the simplicity of what measles used to be. But by the end of these clips, you'll see exactly how demonic and evil it's been made.
The measles? Oh, it can't be. You were both all right this morning.
It broke out after you left to pick up your plane ticket.
I know, a little flashback. And what were the boys upset about? That they couldn't compete in a $10,000 bake-off. That's right. Not that they were going to die of the measles. No, that they couldn't compete in the bake-off. Well, let's go to something even a little bit more innocent at the time. Let's watch this one.
Boy, this is the life, isn't it? Yeah. If you have to get sick, you sure can't beat the measles.
How do you feel?
I'm fine. Dad says I should go to school.
7 students confirmed with measles, 4 others possible.
How? They had to have been vaccinated.
These moms never...
You see the change in how the demeanor before the vaccine and after the vaccine? Because once Big Pharma's involved, it appears suddenly these little things we had to deal with if children are now epidemics of deadly proportion. The evil within these agendas are all terrifying. The FDA boss coming out and saying, eliminate vaccine exemptions or else. This is the head of the FDA. Eliminate all vaccine exemptions, or else. Even the governor of my own state has come out and tried to remove 3 exemptions that his own house just passed. This is ridiculous what's happening everywhere. But don't worry, because if you want to again do the direct comparison, World Health Organization assists North Korea in controlling the measles outbreak. Did you just get the chills? I got the chills because these are so direct comparisons. It's just the most alien horror show I have ever witnessed firsthand in my life. More than 6 million North Korean children aged 6 months to 15 years were successfully vaccinated from the 14th of the 16th of March. Though outstanding progress has recently been made in reducing measles cases and deaths worldwide, we cannot let our guard down. Must vaccinate. Must vaccinate. No, but there's no comparisons between the U.S. and North Korea. We're not heading directly into the clutches of socialism. House passes another bill to strengthen gun background checks as Trump pledges to veto. Just what we covered yesterday, right? You'll go in, it's gun-free zones actually worked. Then 98% of mass shootings wouldn't happen in them. 98% of the mass shootings, according to this Natural News articles, occur within gun-free zones. So what exactly are gun control legislation doing? It's doing nothing except following the agenda. This, North Korea, gun facts, figures, and laws. So we're going to go into the gun numbers, right? In 2007, there was 130,000 guns owned. In 2017, 76,000. You see that rapid decrease? Well, what they really want to go after is this right here. Gun regulations. Guiding gun control legislation in North Korea includes the Firearms Control Act of 2009. In North Korea, the right to private gun ownership is not guaranteed by law. In North Korea, no civilians may lawfully acquire, possess, or transfer a firearm or ammunition. Welcome the United States to North Korea, and we don't have an uprising on Congress and the Senate yet. It is absolutely amazing, and how these elected officials are continue to do what they're allowed to do, and there isn't an absolute uproar. And voting them all off their seats is dumbfounding to me. These people are exactly following in the footsteps of North Korea. But don't worry, we're only about halfway there. Betsy DeVos unveils federalized school choice plan. What? Federalized school choice plan? Because Communist Core wasn't enough. So we'll read down very quickly in the article here. Education Secretary Betsy DeVos unveiled a plan Thursday that would provide $5 billion to federalize school choice by setting up a nationwide federal tax credit scholarship program. This is going to be introduced in the Senate by Texas Republican Ted Cruz. Remember when I said this broadcast does not follow party lines. We have people on both sides of the aisle pushing us in the direction of North Korea as if they're aggressively trying to completely destroy the United States. Maybe they don't even realize what they're doing, but of course, you and I know that that is absolutely not the truth. So, Justice, what does this have to do with North Korea? Education in North Korea is universal and state-funded schooling by the government. I can't make this up. Direct comparison quickly towards the end now. Oregon Governor Kate Brown signs nation's first statewide rent control law. My jaw hit the floor when I read this. Governor Kate Brown signed Senate Bill 608 into law, enacting the nation's first statewide rent control policy, as well as new eviction protections. That's right, folks. That's why you're here. The news here first, because this is what's happening. So she introduces rent control. Imagine if you own an apartment building. The government is now going to tell you that you can't evict anybody and you can only charge what we tell you to charge. So that becomes government-run housing, even if you're privately own the apartment building. But again, Justice, North Korea, sure enough, you cannot purchase apartments or houses in North Korea. The government owns all real estate and gives everyone right to occupy a home free of cost. The location, size, and quality of home depends on your job. You don't think we're heading there quickly? Oh, don't worry. In our own home states, we're voting on, again, North Korean policies. It's disgusting. It makes me sick. And now we have the income reversal. You'll see here, this was just richest people in the world. And these were the remaining people in the world and what percentage of the wealth they controlled. You saw the richest used to control a small amount, and the rest of us controlled the majority. Well, that's drastically reversed now. So now we have an uber rich class and an uber poor middle class. We'll just lump those together at this point in time because that's where the U.S. is at this point. That's why I say we're already in the clutches of socialism. So you see this chart reverse. Well, what does that have to do with North Korea? North Korea's gloating elite swill beer and race cars as country starves under sanctions because North Korea is the living example of what happens when you have this small, minuscule amount of uber elites controlling everything, except in this portion, it's government controlled, which is where we're heading towards by all these Green New Deals and one Medicare systems, because that would allow the government to control all the jobs. They will control all the wealth, and the rest of us will be having to live based on their laws, their rules, and their restrictions. That's why these are direct comparisons. North Koreans are forced to produce 100 kilograms of poop every day. No, that isn't a misheadline, because what actually happens in North Korea, if you want to fertilize your crops, the farmers have to use their own excrement because all the sanctions don't allow other excrement to be imported anymore. So North Korea now demands that every person produces 100 kilograms of poop every day. The government tells you how much you have to poop a week. Welcome to socialism. Sounds amazing. This could never happen in America. Thank goodness this is, well, hold on a second. Biosludged. EPA allows spraying of highly toxic sewage sludge on food crops. Yes. Our excrement coming out of the waste facilities being sprayed to fertilize our food. Your reaction is probably what mine was. And if you didn't believe it, because I had to go for validation, of course, Whole Food bans produce grown with sludge. This was back in 2014. The practice continues today. Nobody stopped it. That's the world we live in. The most despicable example of how two countries that have nothing in comparison are both spraying feces on their own food. Living conditions in North Korea, a story of extremes. Refugees and journalists consistently cite dire living conditions in North Korea. Jumping down, a 2014 UN Commission of Inquiry report cited numerous human rights abuses in North Korea, including murder, enslavement, torture, imprisonment, forced abortions, and sexual violence. The government extracts unquestioning obedience through public executions, arbitrary detention, forced labor, tight travel restrictions, and religious persecution. My goodness, that just sounds like a wonderland to go live, a wonderland of socialism. So much so that people try to escape North Korea to live in China. That's how bad of the regime it is. But this is exactly what we're mirroring. We're going to move forward a little bit further. North Korea discriminates against individuals and their families on political grounds in key areas such as employment, residence, and schooling through Songbun, the country's socio-political classification system that from its creation grouped people into loyal, wavering, or hostile classes. If you watch my video yesterday, you'll realize that the YouTubes and Facebooks and Twitters are already classified all of us into those exact categories. Where do you stand on their socio-economic score? It's horrific, the comparisons to what they do. However, persuasive corruption enables some room. Persuasive corruption. Think about the Cohen trial. Enables some room to maneuver around the strictures of the Songbun system, even while it burdens people as government officials regularly demand and receive bribes from those seeking permissions, persuading market activities, and wishing to travel inside or outside the country. Hence, forced vaccinations being dictated by Big Pharma through the bribery system that impacts our government so that they require these things to happen. Eye-opening, I hope. Facebook is rating the trustworthiness of its users on a scale from 0 to 1. Let's continue. Freedom of religion in North Korea. In North Korea, the Constitution guarantees freedom of religious beliefs. However, in reality, there is no freedom of religion in the country. According to one report, at least 200,000 Christians have gone missing since 1953. Christians in North Korea are said to be the most persecuted in the world. Those of you who listen to my broadcast know that conservative Christians throughout the United States are being persecuted on social media. Voices are shut down and are being made to feel as if they're the minority, when in actuality we are the majority. We are the majority of people, no matter what color, because I believe in a colorblind society, because if you don't live that way, you truly don't live by the words of God. Because it's not for me to judge you. It's only for me to judge the actions you take on me. That's it. Plain and simple. You treat me well, I treat you well. And that's the respect we need as a society. That needs to grow right now, because we aren't fighting each other. We're not fighting this fake Democrat and Republican argument. We're not fighting this fake black and white argument. We're not fighting this fake Hispanic and black argument. These are all created to drive us into socialism, to make you think that you're going to get everything for free, when in actuality you're going to get nothing but imprisonment and enslavement like the rest of us. So if we don't stand hand in hand, we'll never be able to fight back. Trump-Kim summit, Christian persecution in North Korea worsening as talks begin. Christian persecution not just happening overseas, many in the U.S. targeted for their faith too. Another comparison. So if we want to continue to tread down this socialist path, or are we there already? World's richest countries with the highest poverty levels. I went through this: Finland, Czech Republic, Netherlands 7.9, France 8.1, Norway 8.1. I just kept thumbing down Austria, Slovenia, Sweden. These keep getting worse. Belgium, United Kingdom, Poland, Portugal. Okay, I'm like, God, these are horrible countries. What's going on there? Canada, Greece, Spain, Chile, Estonia, Latvia, Lithuania. United States of America, 16.8%. The United States is one of the most unequal countries on the planet in terms of wealth distribution, with a huge gap between rich and poor. And low social security benefits and lack of universal health care only add to the country's poverty problem. You read that. You read the message. LoveMoney.com this comes from. LoveMoney.com. Well, what can that possibly mean for us? Well, if we go right here. Poverty in North Korea. 40% of the population lives below the poverty line. Nearly a quarter of the population in the country lack access to enough food. Children are the most affected by the shortage of food, because that's where I pulled this article from. Children of North Korea realizing children's rights in North Korea don't exist. It's who I'm worried about protecting. It's who you need to be worried about protecting. Your children, your grandchildren, whatever it may be. Because we are able to fight. We've researched this. We know what's happening. We know a right to health with an infant mortality rate of 33%. An infant mortality rate of 33%. So tell me how a one Medicare system will work. Tell me how a government-run medical system will work with an infant mortality rate of 33%. Infrastructure and health personnel resources are often insufficient or inappropriate. Drugs are often in short supply, including those to fight against the numerous harmful effects of malnutrition. For example, many North Korean children are victims of tuberculosis, but you want us to get vaccinated. You want us to push back. You want us to become socialist. I got to listen to Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, Bernie Sanders, and all the other likes of Elizabeth Warren trying to, let's just take more money from the rich. Let's feed all these programs. Let's build government. Let's make it one. Let's make the healthcare system government 100% run. Let's make the school system 100% government run. Let's strip America of all their guns. Let's make sure nobody has the right to free speech on college, universities, schools, on public and social media. Let's follow directly in the footprints of Korea, because that sounds like what America needs. But the rest of us, the sleeping, we can all just sit back and allow it to happen, or we can continue to open our eyes and never give up the fight. Stand hand in hand to understand exactly what they are doing to destroy America. My friends, this is not only already in place. This is active. They want to finish. They want to close the circle. They want to assure that we are just like North Korea. Now you know the effects of what that happens. You see the direct comparisons. And that's why I was here today. If you haven't subscribed, I certainly hope you will. because we're going to have so much more information like this coming. I am out of my mind irate right now, and I tried to contain it till the very end because this is the most disgusting thing I had never thought we would have to face in our life. And when my eyes opened and I started digging deeper and finding more week after week, month after month, year after year, you realize exactly how deep this depravity goes. And we all need, and please, my friends, despite religion, despite color, despite class, despite wealth, despite home, despite location, despite our differences, please, we need to stand together. We need to not allow these mainstream medias to continue to try to tear us apart, because the fight we face is by far greater than any of the minuscule differences we may have with one another, but the majority of which were created by some outside entities that don't even exist. That's why I always say I love each one of you. Godspeed and God bless. I hope you use this video. I hope you share it, because this is the reality of America.